Hello everyone. You are just wondering right now why my hair is covered. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to scare anybody here, but this is just an example I'm trying to give how my parents had decided for me to look like this for the rest of my life and to live along their cultural decisions. Well, I am a very strong personality and I had to put a big fight to continue live the life I chosen for myself and the lifestyle I have chosen. Trust me, it was a big war between me and family. So, as you can imagine right now, my speech today will be about cultural differences with my family. So let's take this out. Okay, better. And we put this. So, this is who I am. I like to start speaking with about the cultural differences I had with my family. I was born in Turkey and I was raised in Germany. My parents had met in Turkey. My mom is Middle Eastern, my dad is French, but my dad totally lives controlled by my mother and her entire family. They are more Muslim. My dad is Christian, but he had decided to convert. So at this moment, I like to start with what type of cultural differences we had with my family. My family wanted me to be arranged married with 15 years old. So they dragged me from Germany, where I was being raised more German by my, say, godparents, because my parents were really, really busy working shifts in factory. I was being raised by my godparents. They were Germans and they were good friends of my parents. And I was allowed to go to church with them on Sundays, which I enjoyed. And I became a true believer in God and I was saved. So, leaving all that behind, as a child, 15 years old, I was dragged from Germany and brought to Turkey, where I had to meet my future husband, get immediately married to him, and being taken to Saudi Arabia. Nobody asked me if that was my will. That was just the decision my parents, my uncles, and my aunts had made for me to be brought back into the family and continue a Muslim lifestyle and being back saved into a Middle Eastern cultural living. So the rest of my family and my uncles and aunts, they are very controlling. They controlled all five of us children, and but I was the only one who was being arranged married because I was more a rebel against my culture. I loved the German living and the German lifestyle, and that was me. I was totally against my family. I was loud. I was fighting everyone. So, arrange marrying me to Saudi Arabia and sending me to a totally different country was more a solution, what my parents thought it could be. Well, after the big wedding, I was sent to Saudi Arabia. I didn't know what a boyfriend was. So you can imagine how my marriage night was about. I was totally in shock. Um, I didn't know what to do. I was in a different world. Next day, I was on the plane being sent to Saudi Arabia, where I had to meet Saudi Arabian families. Um, there was a big wall against the little castle looking building where I had to live. Everything was controlled by other female maids. I was supposed to just being dressed up every day in high heels and makeup, hair done, nails. It's just waking up in the morning, getting pretty, walking around in the house all day in high heels. You're not allowed to leave the house. You're not allowed to go shopping. A limousine will come and pick you up. You had to put the whole 9 yard blacks. Your eyes cannot show. Your fingernails, your toes cannot show. You will be dropped off in the mall where you have a few mates controlling you, walking around you, making sure you're safe and nobody's bothering you. While you're shopping, you're not allowed to uncover your face to smell anything. When you touch, you can't even feel because you have the black gloves on your hands. So, and then the limousine picks you back up, takes you back to the house where you enter the big gate again between the walls, and you're back in your little castle. So that was the lifestyle I was chosen to live for the rest of my life. I had to cover my hair, my body, my eyes, my fingernails, toes, everything. I was not allowed to be seen but my husband, and in the house by my maids. As a 15-year-old child, you are a little bit brave, I can say. As far as I remember myself, the rebel I was against my parents, you can imagine how rebel I was against these strangers. They were forcing me to live a different lifestyle I did not choose to live. One night, I just put my passport back in my back pocket of my jeans and escaped from that 1001 night fairy tale. It was more a hell and nightmare, not a fairy tale. Climbing down, yes, rose bushes from the big building and the window. I walked 3 days and 3 nights to the airport using a map. I made it to the airport. I had nothing but gold and jewelry in my jeans pockets, where I traded them for airline ticket at the airport. It was terrible. If I was captured and if I was found at that moment, I would have been stoned to death, or my head would have been cut off as a wife escaping from a Saudi Arabian husband. After I make it to the airport, I fly back to Turkey because my passport was still valid. And from Turkey, I waited at the airport for my brother, who was still living in Germany, to arrive at the same time, and with some paperwork in his hands and some return visa, because I grew up in Germany, I still had rights in Germany. He was able to pick me up and take me back with him to Germany without me spending any much time in Turkey, where they could have located me and find me. Well, in Germany, I was able to go back to school. I was able to find me a part-time job while I was schooling. And after my jobs, which was nighttime factory, daytime waitress, and then studying on the side, I was really very strong-minded to go through all this. I was able to get a degree, and I was able to work at the airport. But not only hiding from my parents for years, I built some confusion and some certain hate against my entire family. I loved my parents because they were my parents. We were blood related. But at the same time, I hated what they have done to me. It took me years and years after I got married, had my own children, to realize what cultural differences are and what families are forced into. I was able to figure out that my parents, they were just trying to not lose me in a German living. They tried to bring me back to their own culture. They didn't mean no such a big harm. They thought marrying me to a royal Saudi Arabian family who was very rich, was me being taken care of the rest of my life, and I didn't have to work and worry about my future. So with these thoughts, my parents thought that they was doing good to me. No, they actually ruined my life to a non-ending nightmare. I still have some nightmares today, thinking of how bad that situation really hurt me. So 17 years later, yes, 17. I'm a little bit hard-headed, to be honest, but I'm very sensitive. So it took me 17 years to figure out and find forgiveness in my heart to actually decide to go back to Turkey and to face my parents again and to tell them that I partially understand and that I do love them after all, and I want to build a brand new relationship with them. But not as a Saudi Arabian little girl they wanted me to be. I'm American now. I am a US citizen. I'm in college, I work, I have 3 beautiful daughters. I have an American husband, and nothing can ever keep me in the Middle Eastern or send me back to that life, because I am being owned by the United States of America, and I am happily ever after here, and I'm proud who I am, and I am Christian. I was able to continue the religion I have chosen because in Christian churches I feel nothing but love, nothing but beauty, comfort, and that's, I think, where I belong. But I do not forget where I'm coming from. I do not forget my parents, and I do respect their culture. I never can say mine because I never lived in that culture. I was raised in Germany, and I spent the rest of my life in the United States. So I do understand my parents' culture. I read a lot about it. I was able to research, but I'm proud that I did take that next step to make decisions and continue very brave to follow my own dreams and to become who I am today. So I encourage everyone in small or huge tasks like these to just be yourself, but never forget where you're coming from, but just live the living for who you are and not ever being forced, neither here in the United States or in other countries or whoever or whatever you are. Never let anyone make decisions for you what type of life you should live, and never make the decision for you who you are or who you are supposed to be. That's you, you only you can be yourself, and no one else can do it for you. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope this was not a long speech. I just want to give you a big and very important life example. Thank you.